Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a good day. Today I got my dog with me as we're doing the webinar. Hope you guys don't mind. We'll be ready to go. Okay, no more. Bye. Okay. Let's see. Let's share the screen so you guys can see. All right. Let's go. All right, so today we're doing contracts. I hope you guys are having a great day. Contracts is one of my favorite subjects. You may ask, why is it your favorite subject? Because it's very tangible. It's something we could all wrap our head around. It's not as obscure as like finance, which is a lot of theories and things of that nature, and numbers and gross things. Contracts is much more relatable for all of us. I see some of you guys answering the question before I said what's the answer to the question. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, people. So what I'm going to say first is I want you guys to name the 4 essential elements of a contract. The 4 essential elements of a contract. What are the 4 essential elements of a contract? Hello, Christina. Okay, so we got consideration, mutual consent, lawful object, and capable parties. So Mary, you wrote dust. Mary, that is for the 4 essential elements of value, okay? That's demand, utility, scarcity, and transferability. That's for value, okay? Victoria, I'm happy you're here as well. That's why we do these different times so different people can attend. Glad to have you here. So the 4 essential elements of a valid contract: mutual consent, consideration, lawful object, and capable parties. Good. All right. Every time we do contracts, we're going to start with that question. With that being said, let's look at the question on the board. Avoidable contract is a contract that A, was valid at the time that was signed, but for some reason cannot be proved or sued upon by either or both parties. B, is valid and enforceable on its face, but may be rejected by one of the parties. C, has no legal effect because it's really not a contract. Or D, certain of all the legal essentials are required for its existence. And it looks like you guys are on it today with the answer of B. Nice job. What is a void contract? Who knows? What is a void contract? What do you guys think is a void contract? Jerry, if the screen is blurry, make sure your settings are changed to 720 HD. There's a little gearbox in the right-hand corner of that window where you click on it, change to 720 HD, and you'll be fine. Okay, so a void contract is a contract that's missing one of the 4 elements. Nice job, Mike. Mike nailed it. It's when it's missing one of the 4 elements. Okay? Everybody got that? It's missing one of the 4 elements, those 4 elements we just named. When one party is substituted for another party in a contract, the process appropriately called A, rescission, B, waiver, C, novation, or D, redaction. C, novation. Nova is Latin for new, right, guys? What is ad valorem Latin for? Anybody know? Ad valorem. Who knows? Ad valorem is Latin for according to value. Do we have any other dog lovers in the room here? Any other dog people? Love dogs. I said to my 5-year-old nephew that I'm a big dog person. He looked at me like really weird. He said, dog person. I said, yeah, I'm a big dog person. And he kind of looked scared of me for a second. And then he whispered to my brother what was happening. And my brother said, he thinks you have a tail because you're a dog person. I was like, oh, I guess that makes sense when you're 5. So I had to clarify to him that I don't have a tail. And I'm not like half man, half dog. I had to explain to him dog person means you like dogs. It's funny when you talk to 5-year-olds, you got to be careful how you phrase things. Scared him quite a bit for a little bit. He was like, what? Uncle Joe's a dog person? Cool. Okay, here we go. Under a sales contract, the legal remedy that may be used to force the seller to consummate the sale is called A, writ of execution, B, unlawful detainer, C, specific performance, D, foreclosure. Okay, and the answer is C, specific performance. What does that mean? That means that money's not okay. You want a certain act to be performed. For example, you want to sue the seller to follow through the sale of the house. Everybody ready for this? Brokers cannot sue for specific performance. Brokers sue for money. All right, so everybody got that? It's important you know that. Usually when you're talking about specific performance, I'll say that 10 times. Specific performance, when you're talking about that, you're talking about between the buyer and seller to follow through with certain elements of the contract that they're not following through with. Has everybody got that? That's what specific performance is really all about. So brokers don't sue for that. It's usually about getting people to carry out terms of a contract or agreement. A lease that provides a periodic increase of rent at regular intervals is called A, long-term lease, B, graduated lease, C, percentage lease, or D, yearly lease. Mike asked, do most usually win that case then? I don't know, Mike. I haven't really sued or been sued a lot for it, but I do know what it is. So you guys can pass the real estate exam. I know it has to do with making people follow through with an act. As per real life, hasn't really happened to me that much. Okay, answer is B, graduated lease. What is a percentage lease? Anybody know? What is a percentage lease? Percentage lease. What's a percentage lease? It's when you get a percentage of the gross receipts. Good, a percentage of the gross receipts. What is a net lease? What is a net lease? A net lease. What is a net lease? Let's see who's been studying. Hey, Kelvin. Kelvin Rojas. What is a net lease? It's when the tenant pays for tax, insurance, and maintenance. What is a gross lease? What is a gross lease? What is a gross lease? It's when you have a flat rate of rent, such as a typical residential lease. And last but not least, what is a sandwich lease? What is a sandwich lease? A sandwich lease is when the lessor is also the lessee, also known as subletting. Good. That's right, Team McDaniel. Go team. Anybody in the New York tri-state area, New Jersey, Westchester, that area? I'll be visiting there. Be nice to do a live class one of these days. Woo, New York, Kim Ladder. Getting Starbucks with me. Awesome. Anybody else want to join us for Starbucks? Okay, when contract states that time is of the essence, the contract must be delivered and presented A, within 48 hours, B, as soon as possible, C, within 24 hours, D, within 2 business days. I will definitely come to Seattle, Michelle. I was there in December, actually. Great city. What do you guys think of when I'm in your town? I'll make an announcement I'm in that town as I travel a lot, and whoever's in that town that wants to join me for Starbucks or lunch, we'll have a nice group meeting and a nice little networking. That way you guys can meet other people in your town who are also starting to get in real estate, and we could chat. We could all have a good time and kind of network with others who are getting started. Just have like a nice little Starbucks session or something like that. I don't know if you guys like that idea. I'm definitely going to Miami in month or two. I'm going to Miami. Okay, here we go. When contract states that time is of the essence, the contract must be delivered and presented A, within 48 hours, B, as soon as possible, C, within 24 hours, D, within 2 business days. What do you guys think? I think you guys just gave me the next idea for PrepAgent. I think you guys know what it's going to be. A light bulb just went off in my head. Okay, as soon as possible is time of the essence. What statute deals with time? Anybody know? What statute deals with time? Then, Jonathan, there's not a time limit. Statute of limitations. Great job, Jillian. Jillian Solbach. Nice job, Jillian. If the owner of a shopping center wants a major department store's lease to provide rental payments that reflect the store's sales, they are most likely to use which of the following types of lease? A, percentage, B, flat fee, C, net, D, gross. Anybody know what my next idea for PrepAgent is? Who could take a guess? The answer is percentage. Networking groups. I'm thinking creating live networking groups in different cities. So you guys could actually meet each other in person and start to support each other and help each other out. Have like brainstorming sessions, networking groups. No, my next business idea is not to start a Starbucks. Well, that would be amazing. Okay, with the exception of court order sales, the amount of earnest money to be deposited by a prospective buyer is determined by the A, local real estate association, B, agreements between seller and buyer, or C, state real property law, or D, listing broker. I can post it, Aisha. All right, the answer is B. Somebody give me a question within contracts. We're talking about contracts today. Who's got a question on that? Who wants to fire off a question I can answer? Anybody? Anybody's got a question off the top of their head that they want to answer? Okay, while you guys think of a question, I'm going to go on to the next one. So Susan Nuri says, I want a question example regarding to sandwich lease. Oh, you want me to write a question for sandwich lease? All right, I'll put one in there. But just we all know sandwich lease is basically subletting. And Kim says, can you buy a house when you're 17 and married? Yes, you can. You're emancipated. Like Macaulay Culkin. You guys remember that nightmare? If you remember when Macaulay Culkin got emancipated, you just confessed to being between age 35 and 50 years old. In the event that the buyer fails to perform an agreement to purchase, the seller may be allowed to keep the earnest money deposit as A, an escrow bonus, B, liquidated damages, C, due compensation, or D, compensatory losses. Who remembers that? Macaulay Culkin got emancipated before he was 18, therefore he was no longer a minor. And he was able to buy property. Okay, liquidated damages. All right, moving right along. What is this earnest money deposit thing all about? So you see it on the board. What's it all about? What is it? It's also called a good faith deposit. What do you guys think? Due compensation. Okay, it shows that you're serious. It's a lot like getting married. Okay, for example, if I go to Keisha and I say, Keisha, we're in love. Will you marry me? And all these good stuff. All right, and I said, marry me, marry me, marry me. I'm down on one knee. She'll look at me like I'm crazy. All right. But if I say, Keisha, will you marry me? And I have a big ring in my hand, then she knows that I am serious. But without that ring, my proposal doesn't mean much. Has everybody got that? But with the ring, it shows that I'm serious. She says, yes, we are engaged. And you could say that we are now in escrow. Okay, we are in escrow. And much like buying a property, if I violate terms of the agreement with Keisha during that engagement period, she'll probably keep the ring. Okay, does that make sense, guys? That engagement ring, as romantic as you guys may think it is, it's essentially just an earnest money deposit. Okay, to keep you guys honest. Keisha said yes. All right, me and Keisha are getting married. But that's essentially, if you guys know the history of the engagement ring, that's what it was. It was a deposit. Not very romantic, I know. All right, here we go. A written purchase agreement is signed by both a buyer and seller. The Uniform Vendor and Purchase Risk Act states that until the buyer has possession of or title to a property, responsibility for the physical condition of the property is delegated to the buyer, who upon signing the lease, equitable title to the property. B, remains with the seller. C, is given to a third party. Or D, is assumed by the seller's homeowner insurance company. Karina, that's correct. Way to go, people under 5 feet. Not sure how you knew that. She is a bajita. Okay, and the answer here is remains with the seller. Remains with the seller. Okay, I did mention it. She is from Colombia. Okay, here we go. Next question. Each part is bound to a specific date for performance if a real estate sales contract contains A, a provision that time is of the essence, B, a congratulatory clause, C, an exact date for transfer of title, or D, a time limit for the buyer to secure mortgage financing. Okay, here we go. The provision that time is of the essence. A promise in exchange for a promise supported by consideration is the basis of A, a unilateral contract, B, a offer to lease, C, a valid binding bilateral agreement, or D, a multilateral contract. What do you guys think? Okay, so we're talking about bilateral and unilateral. Answer C, a valid binding bilateral agreement. What is the difference between a bilateral and unilateral contract? What do you guys think? What's the difference between a bilateral and unilateral contract? What do you guys think? Uni is one-sided. So it's not the number of parties, Kathy. That's a good answer, but it's actually a number of promises, okay? So if you just had one party, there'd be no reason for a contract at all. The key thing is the promises, okay? So unilateral is one promise being made. Bilateral is two promises being made. What I'd like you guys to do is give me as many examples as you can in real estate or in life for that matter, if you want, of a bilateral contract. Ready, go. Let's see it. Let's see some examples of bilateral contracts. Let's see it, guys. Who's first on the board here? Some bilateral contracts. Marriage is a bilateral contract. Good. So within the word, not all listings are bilateral contracts. Some are unilateral. So you got to be more specific, okay? A car loan's a bilateral contract. Exclusive right to sell listing is a bilateral contract. Nice. Good job, guys. A lease is a bilateral contract. Employment contract, bilateral contract. Good job, everybody. Now let's name some unilateral contracts. Let's go with some unilateral contracts. Who can name a unilateral contract? Open listing, good. Open list, a lost dog sign. Great job, Team McDaniel. Lost dog sign, open listings. Excellent. So we got open listing, lost dog signs. What about any option agreement? Option agreements are unilateral contracts, all right? So we got an example of unilateral and bilateral contracts. Great job, everybody. Okay, here is another one. Oh, nice one, Michelle. That's right. We're in a bilateral contract right now. You and me are in a bilateral contract, okay? I'm giving you a service, you promise to pay, and we both made a promise, and we have a bilateral contract. Good. Okay, double or nothing. For those who've been studying, name for me an implied contract. An implied contract. Who could name for me an implied contract? Looks like a duck, acts like a duck, walks like a duck. It must be a real estate agent. Okay, so you guys see in a restaurant, when you sit down at a restaurant, right, and you order your food, it's implied that you will pay. You could actually have implied listings. All right, do all real estate contracts need to be in writing? Do all real estate contracts need to be in writing? Right, Chi-Chi, a taxi ride's an implied contract as well. Good example. No. All real estate and contracts do not need to be in writing. You could have oral contracts. You could have implied contracts. Leases under a year very often do not need to be in writing to be enforced. Okay? No matter what state you're in, it may be different which contracts can be in writing or not, but the case that all contracts need to be in writing, that doesn't apply to any state. Every state has some contract that does not need to be in writing. The fact is, if there's a lawsuit, and think of it this way, if you guys have a lawsuit in a real estate contract and one person loses that piece of paper for whatever reason, is all out the window? No. There's many instances where if one party could prove by way of actions or different manners, they could still enforce that agreement even though the paper was lost. Is everybody got it? So when you think about it in those contexts, it makes sense that there are contracts where if you lose that piece of paper, you could still enforce it. The big one very often is if you're renting property, you lose that piece of paper, and if you're taking money every month and they're giving you money every month, it's a lessor-lessee relationship, whether stuff's in writing or not, by nature of you giving money and then taking money on a regular basis. Okay. Jones, the seller, receives an offer to purchase and puts forth a counteroffer to Brown. The buyer, Brown, the buyer. Until Brown notifies Jones of his acceptance or rejection, Jones, A, cannot accept another offer from a different buyer. B, is legally bound to the terms of the counteroffer. C, may accept the Brown's original offer. Or D, may produce a new counteroffer. What do you guys think? And the answer is D. What is a counteroffer? What is a counteroffer? Who knows? Who can answer that? Who's the first one to answer this? What is a counteroffer? And if you can, I'd like you to define it using words that you've learned in your studies for the real estate exam. What is a count? It is not a new offer. Excuse me, it is a new offer. Oh, shame on me. Faux pas, Freudian slip. What I was looking for, a counteroffer is when the offeree becomes the offeror. The offeree becomes the offeror. It is a rejection of the original offer and a new offer is produced. So you guys said new offer, you were spot on there. Please excuse my little faux pas there. The offeree becomes the offeror. Okay, and another note, I want to give somebody a plug. Michelle McDowell created a website, which she showed us all last week in the Agent School webinar. I strongly advise you guys take a look at it. It's a great example of what you guys could do before you pass. She's created the website, started to create images, but she's not soliciting business yet. So it's not illegal, okay? It's not violating rules, but she's laying the framework and laying the foundation for her business. So when she passes, she's off and running. Michelle, if you want to share that website in the chat, be my guest. So I think it's amazing. And I think it's a great example of what everybody else could be doing if they put their mind to it. It took her about 30 minutes using a template, and she was off and running. Michelle, remember, you got to write it so it's not a link, because then it won't show up if you do that. Okay, so just go to Michelle McDowell, rephotography.com, and you guys could check it out. Just put a .com after what she wrote. And she did an amazing job, and all the rest of you guys should do the same. Okay, here we go. Under the Statute of Frauds, in order to be legally enforceable, all real estate contracts must be A, on a government-approved form, B, in writing, C, a unilateral agreement, or D, drafted by a lawyer. Statute of frauds must be in writing. As we said, statute of limitations has to do with time. By the way, tomorrow I'll be doing the webinar at the same time, in case you guys are wondering. The party to most likely sue for specific performance in the purchase of real estate is the A, seller, B, appraiser, C, broker, or D, buyer. We went over this before. Everybody should get this right. And the answer is D, buyer. And by the way, this is exactly why I want that networking group. So just so we share what Michelle's doing, you guys could share with her, and you guys could all progress together. Which other group, Kim? Which other group are you referring to? There's the new real estate agent group on Facebook. You guys should join that. It's on Facebook. Just look up PrepAgent New Real Estate Agents. And then Agent School, I do a webinar once a week about how to grow your business. I hope you guys attend there. Just look up Agent School on YouTube. It's one word. You guys should all subscribe so you can find out when I do that. Some of you guys have attended it already. And it's my way of trying to help you guys, because I do not want you guys just to pass. I want you guys to be successful and make money, not just pass. And Kelvin, the best way to do it is through the website. Okay, what is a sum of money a buyer may submit with an offer to purchase known as? A, an earnest money deposit. B, a warranty bond. C, a limited liability premium. Or D, a liquidated damages. We went over this before. All right, and this is the earnest money deposit. The most important document in the sale process is the purchase contract because, A, unless real estate transaction is in writing, state law dictates how the money is spent and distributed. B, the agent is not guaranteed a fee without it. C, it tells the government why the buyer wishes to buy. Or D, it provides the roadmap for the closing. Okay, the answer is D. So this has nothing to do with the fee for the agent. Where is the fee for the agent written? Who knows? Where is the fee for the agent written? Where is that written? That's the listing agreement. How many guys have actually seen a purchase contract? I'm guessing many of you have actually bought and sold a house before, or maybe helped people or been involved with that. If you've seen a purchase contract, it actually details exactly the process of the transaction. And that's why the answer provides a roadmap. So if you've actually bought a house, that answer makes perfect sense. Because when you buy a house and you look at the purchase agreement, it states not only things in the agreement, but also timelines too. 17 days for the inspection, for example, or for the loan to close, or different types of elements of what happens step by step in order to reach a full agreement where the keys are exchanged happily between the seller and the new buyer. So if you look at a purchase agreement, if you've actually seen one, this one should be an easy one for you guys, because it literally is the instructions for how the process should proceed. One effect of a clause in a sales agreement that states that time is the essence might be: A, the agent must see the contract has been fulfilled prior to closing. B, all parties' attendance to those details call an agreement in a timely manner. C, the buyer can take care of matters at his convenience. Or D, the seller can take care of matters at his convenience. And there it is. B, all parties must attend to those details called for the agreement in a timely manner. You guys are doing great. A lot of people answering correctly. I want those people who are not sure to step forward. A lot of times we get answers from people who know everything because they're, confident, they've been studying. But we want to hear from those people who are insecure and scared as well. My experience in these webinars, it's always a great group, a supportive group, and everybody, I think you'll agree, if people are not sure and feel insecure, they should not be afraid to come forward and say so. Do we all agree? Everybody tell me if you agree that we want those people that are a little bit insecure and not sure of everything to feel confident and comfortable that they could come forward and ask questions in the chat. Okay, here we go. If during negotiations, one party crosses out or alters any wording in a contract, A, the whole contract becomes void. B, each party must initial the change in the margin for it to be valid. B, the party who didn't make the changes or omissions become responsible for the deal. Or D, the documents must be retyped. B, each party must initial in the margin to be void. To be valid. Whoop, excuse me. To be valid. Big difference. What takes precedent? Typed words or handwritten words? Anybody know? What takes precedent? Typed words or handwritten words? Written. What's the best example of that? A signature. A signature is handwritten. That takes precedent. So if you have a typed contract and then there's something in written in hand next to it, and they kind of contradict, the handwritten part takes priority. And that's what we're talking about on this question here. It says each party must initial. That initial is written by hand. It's not typed in. And that's the thing that officially says, all right. So that question ever comes up on the exam or in life, just think about the signature. The most important part is in writing. Jones offers to buy Brown's house has been accepted, but the actual sale will not take place for 3 months. Until then, their written sales contracts considered to be A, conditional, B, voidable, C, executory, or D, voided. And the answer is C, executory. Good job, everybody. All right, so that's about it for this evening. But before I go, I want to tell you guys that from the bottom of my heart, I really am grateful that you guys attend. I know you guys have a lot of options. You got a lot of stress as you guys study, and it really makes me feel good and very humble that you guys come to me to learn. I want you guys to know I take it very seriously. I do not take it lightly. I have been in that position where I was very scared taking this exam. And I don't forget that when I try and teach you guys and help you. So I hope I always bring a sense of enthusiasm, a sense of passion to this, because it really does mean a lot to me that you guys are here, as I know how scary it could be for you guys studying for this. And I want you to know I never take that for granted, and I never will. So I want to thank you guys, and it really makes me feel good to do this. And I hope you heard in my voice because it's sincere. So with that being said, I'll see you guys tomorrow, and I hope you're all there tomorrow, and I truly appreciate everybody who comes to attend. All right. Thanks, guys.